Hello, I am Halima Ali Sispain, one of the authors on this piece entitled Climate Resilient COVID-19 Economic Recovery in the Caribbean. The other two authors are Professor Carl Theodore and Dr. Althea Lafoucade from the HU Center for Health Economics. In this short video, I want to make three main points. Firstly, in recent times, small islands have been experiencing more catastrophic impacts of climate change, exacerbating their existing vulnerabilities. These impacts leave countries struggling year on year to recover and rebuild. This harsh reality reinforces the need for urgent, consistent action to address these impacts. With some success, countries have, in the last decade, mobilized resources to address the climate change issue given the magnitude of the impacts projected. My second point relates to the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic, which means that countries now have an immediate public health threat to address with available resources. In fact, some argue that this development placed the issue of climate change on the back burner as significant efforts are being mounted to address the pandemic. Now, while the urgent need to address the immediate threat of the COVID-19 pandemic is in no way misjudged, we're saying that it does not have to be one or the other. While diligently addressing the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, the looming climate crisis, which threatens life, human health, and livelihood, should not be sidelined. My final point brings together these two issues. Given the magnitude of the impacts on life, human health, and livelihoods, these two monstrous challenges need to be addressed simultaneously. But how? How can this be done, given that hanging over our heads is the fact that our resources are just limited? How can we make the best use of our resources in light of these two challenges? While the swift mobilization of resources to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic through recovery plans and strategies presents a peculiar opportunity for us as small islands to use these resources in a way that would also build resilience to the impacts of climate change. With this approach, investments in COVID-19 recovery would therefore seek to address projected impacts of the climate crisis as well. This puts into practice the concept of mainstreaming climate change adaptation into policy making. All it takes is a conscious effort to look closer at the COVID-19 recovery plans through the lens of the anticipated impacts of the climate crisis. Allow for that consideration to be given. In some instances, it may require remodeling of plans, or in some instances, it may even require small changes to the construct of the strategies to allow for that building resilience to climate change aspect to be taken up. For instance, such an approach would mean that initiatives to address COVID-19 induced unemployment would seek to provide sustainable livelihood opportunities to those impacted. Even further, some of the employment boosting strategies could focus on building resilience in areas such as food security, an area that has already been impacted and anticipated to be further compromised. Additionally, national risk assessment systems could focus on both pandemics and the climate crisis to better prepare response systems. In concluding, our team at the HU Center for Health Economics joined the rest of the fraternity in advocating for climate resilient COVID-19 economic recovery in the Caribbean. It is a message for the policymakers to stop and think for a while. If the resources that are available could be used to address both challenges, why not? Let us therefore take up this challenge to climate-proof our COVID-19 recovery plans. It is a win-win approach for all. I thank you.